Hi people! Baby Cat is an absolutely bonkers movie starring Johnny Mask, Chris Spinelli, Socks Whitmore. I usually don't bother listing any names, actors or the crew either way, but this time I just had to because I saw a review of this on YouTube, one of the very few, and it said it was an intentional Neil Breen thing. Well, I have news for you. It isn't. These people are making similar looking movies with the same equipment, with the same friendly group, in the same sets, locations, whatever, because that's just how they make movies. They are very much like Mark Polonia and that kind of creators. So, no, this is not an intentionally bad movie, but it is. When it comes to production quality, this is a bad movie. There is no question there. But this is just, you sit there and with a silly smile, you are just, what am I even watching? I don't know, but I can't look away.
I don't think that's what we call, it's none of my business.
And it's not even like The Room where you're watching a disaster to happen. This is somehow just lifting your spirit into this. This is a lovely story. I don't know what the creators had in mind when they made this, but it's fun. I have no complaints there. So, what this movie is about, and it was made in 2023, and it looks like kind of a softcore fetish movie, furry or whatever, by the look of the poster, and Fawn Winters is in there. She looks kinda very similar to Mercedes, who is currently working with Trauma Incorporation, and does the same thing, these fetish things. But this movie is not that. So if you are here just for the tits and ass, go somewhere else. The actual protagonist here is Natalie Cotter's character. Dana Masters, the IMDb says. It doesn't matter, you won't remember one name in this. Except with Max Power, who is a transgender character going with they them pronouns. It is the character of Socks Whitmore. I always try to say Shocks, and it wouldn't be unreasonable to pronounce it that way, because the big scars on them's chest is clearly on display, and that is somehow part of the charm here and the core theme of the entire movie. So what is the basic setup? Protagonist girl moves from a tiny settlement in the south to the big city because of work and an oil company and whatever. So it's a well-paying, respectable job. But she's an intern or beginner or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, well, I just put in a memo about the Bolivian oil.
And she has very little money. So she's going to a questionable neighborhood, so to say. But it's not the usual ghetto with gangsters and all that kind of criminal activity. No, here just who lives here are weirdos.
This is nice.
Ignore me! So when she's looking out the flat, she hears a loud meows, and main tenant says, well, it's just a neighborhood cat, no worry. And then comes in the neighborhood cat, who is a woman identifying as a cat. And you start to have the head scratching. And there comes Socks Widmore.
Sometimes problems are problems. People are people.
With big smile on the face. It's just, you can't hate the character.
Sometimes they're still your human. Your people. Cherish them.
Yeah, sure, it fits. So protagonist girl goes home thinking through this whole entire thing. This is just not your usual environment, and goes to work, and turns out her job circumstances are weird too. She's the only employee there, because the others refuse to move, because the salary and all kind of... Her boss comes in and acts like there is a war room of people and gives projects to people who are not there. And it's just, what even is happening now? There comes her direct superior and explains that, well, no one really wants to work with this guy because he's entirely senile, but he can't be put out of business because he's co-owner and co-founder and all that crap. So it's a low thing, and well, just be happy that you have a good, well-paying job anyway. So, but if you should actually be productive if you can. But you just don't pay attention there, and it will be all right. But she's abused verbally by this. Bonuses goes to these non-existent employees. Seriously, what even is happening? The joke is, she actually finds an oil field for the company entirely on her own. It's just a background info. A lot of it is just background info, one-liners. So it's just weird characters coming in and out, weird situation happening all the time, and it's just there. The story is going in the background info, and it's worth paying attention. This is what makes you pay attention and look through the weird things. The weird stuff is entertaining, of course, but having a story is a bonus, that should be foundational. And there is a story. And at her home, the cat person just somehow gets into her room because, the door was open, and they somehow turn into a relationship. She doesn't even understand it, but this is the big city, so when you are in Rome, no harm is done, and it feels good. So, relationship is a relationship. It's just so weirdness. And the point is, her job environment, which should be a respectable place by normal standard when you are talking about with your associates, your friends and relatives and whatever, potential partners, is even weirder and actually abusive compared to her home environment, which is weird, but receptive. I hope that's the right word. It's very inclusive and just welcomes you, whoever you are, as long as you are not hurting anybody. One of the twists that turns out that Cat Lady is actually the owner of the entire block. So she can be put out, but she can be sent away. So it's entirely consensual, it's whole thing. And the point is that the main tenant cannot just hush her away because she is weird, because she is the owner. So it forms into some kind of utopian society in a way, and there is this main subplot happening, kind of screen. I mean, it's like when you are watching Star Wars and they are showing what Darth Vader do, while the main characters you are following is Luke Skywalker and the rebellion. Star Wars role-playing book calls it, I think, Intermission. There's some big evil world domination plot is going on, so there is a supervillain here. How does it come here? Well, he will kidnap protagonist girl. Yes. Until that, her main concern was to introduce her mother, this cat lady, and it goes absolutely fine. Cat lady gets the note, and for that once she gets regular clothes and stands on two and talks like a normal person, but you know, she has to take effort. So now, how comes here this super villain subplot? Through Cat Lady. Because this is actually a superhero movie. You don't believe it. In the last 15-20 minutes, it turns out it is a superhero movie. That's about superhero fatigue. This is one of my top movies recently. Yes, Cat Lady is actually the product of the government, like, you know, some super serum like Captain America, and she got cat powers, super speed and super agility and super sense. She has a super close too, but as a negative side effect, she got this cat persona. So she's not responsible for this. It's not like she is just mad and LGBT plus and she's just weirdo, liberal, blue hair, whatever. She literally was a hetero person or was a badass. That's not explained. Either way, she was not a cat person. But now she is because the government experimented on her. You know, that's a very good LGBT plus representation because the LGBT plus people cannot do against their nature, just like Cat Lady cannot do. So when protagonist lady is kidnapped and she just broke up with Cat Lady, there is a big despair, and in the block, in the main evil's machinery, what will happen? Will our protagonist be saved? And she will. Of course, it is there is the revelation that Cat Lady is a superhero and she comes here with superhero stuff, and there are stakes because the mad scientist or the original scientist made a second dose of the serum for the evil mad person and he injects himself with it. Well, it does not turn out to his advantage, let's just say that. And come to think of it, think back to Subhuman, the Amityville experiment. Here, the boss is shadow-faced and only revealed at the very end. And that's how you do it. See, I put here an Amityville reference. At the very end, everything turns out fine. The mad boss is sent to retirement. He realizes that he's cuckoo. The evil boss, super boss, is defeated, and Cat Lady shows up in a Adopt Me box at the doorstep of protagonist lady, and they are making out. I can just say this is a lovely flick, a superhero flick. For all its hindrance, it it somehow hit the jackpot.